In this video, you're gonna learn the most overlooked area at the shoulder to solve shoulder pain or issues. What's going on? My name is Dr. Nick Bonforte, physical therapist. So shoulder pain or issues to this region. The shoulder complex is a very complicated area. It's a very mobile joint, but a lot of times we just focus directly at the shoulder joint itself, like working on the rotator cuff strength, working on the flexibility of shoulder internal rotation and external rotation, all these other ranges of motion at the shoulder. But what we commonly forget, and it's overlooked, is the shoulder blade. Shoulder blade is a crucial part of the puzzle to solve shoulder issues, and more often than not, it's overlooked. Now, the shoulder blade lives on the back of the rib cage, and it's kind of the pseudo joint where it has various motions. It moves into upward rotation, downward rotation, protraction, retraction, and it also tilts back and forward. Now, there's a lot of muscles that attach to the scapula. When these muscles aren't functioning as well as they can be, it can start to lead to abnormal mechanics at the shoulder, and that can lead to some issues you might be dealing with. Most commonly, we have to address the lower trap and the serratus anterior muscle, and we help bias these muscles. Why is that important? Because more often than not, people struggle with overhead mobility. When we bring the arms overhead, the shoulder blade has to move into upward rotation and it has to tilt backwards a little bit. Now, when we lack shoulder strength, these motions can be not as good, and then it can start to lead to some compensations and then ultimately the pain and discomfort. Let's dive into a few exercises to start addressing this region. So with this exercise, we're working on the ability for the shoulder blade to protract. So we're working on the ability to help bias the serratus anterior muscle in this case. That muscle in particular helps protract the shoulder blade. Now, why is that important? Because if we improve the ability for the shoulder blade to move into this motion, it ultimately helps with things like getting the arm overhead. So with this exercise, we're biasing this region. Now, are other regions of the shoulder working, like the rotator cuff, to stabilize the arm? Of course, but we're trying to bias this region by working on the actual protraction of the shoulder blade. Now, with this exercise, we're working on just the ability for the shoulder blade to move through a particular range of motion. So this one can look very simple, but it can be super effective in addressing the ability of the shoulder to move around in a circle. That's important because we're getting at all aspects of some control when we're thinking about moving into this circular motion. So with this one, my arms are just straight out locked out, and I'm biasing and emphasizing just moving my arms via my shoulder blade. So my arms aren't bending at this. I'm trying to bias the shoulder blade to move in this circular pattern and ultimately improving the shoulder blade range of motion. This exercise is helping bias the lower trap muscles. Like I said before, two muscles that act on the shoulder blade that are important are the serratus anterior and the lower trap. This one helps bias the lower trap, which ultimately improves the ability for the shoulder blade to move into upward rotation and also tilt back a little bit. So this is a very good one to address this lower trap region and ultimately improve the strength and control to the shoulder blade. With this exercise, we're working on a stretch. Now you can see with this one, we're addressing the front of the chest. We're helping bias particularly the pec minor. Why is that important? Because the pec minor attaches to the shoulder blade called the coracoid process. Now when the pec minor, if we think about it, if it's very, very tight and short, it can pull the shoulder blade forward. When it pulls the shoulder blade forward, it limits the ability for it to tilt back. As you know, like I said in the beginning, the shoulder blade has to tilt back to get the arms overhead. So if we're dealing with this muscle that's super tight, it can contribute and limit this range of motion, ultimately contributing to maybe the discomfort or the pain at the shoulder. So hopefully you'll have a better understanding of why it's so important to look at the shoulder blade and make sure we're not overlooking this region to solve shoulder issues you potentially might be dealing with. Guys, if you did find some value in this video and learn some things, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe, like, comment, leave any questions down below. And also don't forget to turn on your post notifications so you never miss a video that comes out when I release it. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Also guys, if you want to learn a little bit more about some of the programs that I have for the shoulder, some of the free guides as well on my website, then just click the link in this video or down below in the description, heads you right over to the website, check out some of the programs and if they would even be beneficial for you. This is Dr. Nick. Hope to see you inside the program.